Good morning, what is up everyone? Today I'm coming to you from Politan Beach, I think that's how you say it, here in Sikihor Island. I just left like the Bohol area, Panglao. I was in Panglao for almost a month. So now I'm kind of doing a little bit more exploring. So this is Politan Beach, it's about 8 in the morning. I have the beach to myself, this is beautiful, like look at this. Look how clear the water is, you can like see little fishes. And like nobody's out here. I think it's just like a public, like the locals come here, so maybe like in the afternoon it gets a little more busy, but in the morning no one's, I guess, whatever, right? But anyways, so in this vlog we're gonna go over my 3 months. I was in Cebu for 3 months. My time there. I'm gonna start with some positives and end with some negatives. And for me, the negatives far outweighed the positives. So it wasn't a good space for me to be in long term. And my mistake was staying there for too long. I should have been there for 1 month and just got out and seen the rest of the Philippines, like where I wanted to see, because this is what I wanted to be by, and this is nothing like Cebu City. So yeah, that was one lesson learned definitely there. But let me get set up here, and then we'll get this vlog going. Okay, guys, I'm all set up here. I got my notes. Let me get going. There's a lot of information to cover. I'm gonna try to get through it quick so this vlog isn't super long. Okay, so and this is coming from the point of view of a single male traveler in the Philippines. So again, if you're with a family or you're with your girlfriend or wife, it's gonna be a little different. But anyways, at least from my point of view, this is what I've noticed. Let me start off with the pros. In Cebu City, there's amazing shopping. They have multiple giant malls. I mean, malls are so big, it's hard to even keep track of where you're at. That's how large they are. They had great outlet stores in Lapu-Lapu. I went to the ASIC store. I bought some sneakers there. It was kind of cool. Really inexpensive. Many awesome grocery stores. I love to cook all my food, so I buy all my ingredients, and it was awesome there. Like the grocery stores there, everything you could think of, like everything I would buy in Hawaii, I could find basically in Cebu City, like food-wise, even imported stuff. So that was really cool. That was a nice benefit. And then another thing I noticed about the city is there's amazing work opportunities. So I see why people from all over the Philippines, they gravitate to Cebu City, because there's everywhere. Like my first 2 months I was walking everywhere in Cebu City because I didn't have my vehicle yet, and I would walk and there would be like a help wanted sign, and it would have the whole thing, it would be like 5 or 6 positions in that one place that they needed filled. So, and this was multiple times, like at the mall, just walking down the street, if you're in IT Park, like I've seen help wanted everywhere. So I could see why it would help Filipinos, you know, if you're in the province and you need to make money. If you just go to the city, then basically you're gonna get a job, and then from there you can send money back home, and that's good. Like you want a vibrant economy, you want a lot of jobs. That's gonna be a successful city. So I could totally get why Filipinos from all over the place would go there, and that's why they do. From provinces all over. As a foreigner, it doesn't help us at all, really. I'll get into this here for a second. Is because like we cannot legally have a job here, and I didn't come here for that anyway, so it didn't help me to be in the middle of this. And Cebu City is what we would call in the West, or like in the United States, we would call that the rat race. So I escaped that, so there was no reason for me to go from one rat race to another, especially since I wasn't there to work and I can't work legally. It made no sense for me to be there long term, and so that was kind of one of my regrets, that I stayed there too long. Cebu City is a great spot to land, because you pretty much, if you're coming from the West, you're going to land in Manila or Cebu City. I mean, for the most part, I would still land in Cebu City. I would just recommend being there for like a month to get your stuff in order, get your feet on the ground, kind of get acclimated. And then a lot of you are going to buy a vehicle. Most of you are going to buy like scooters or like motorbikes to call them here. And that's a great spot for it, because there's stores everywhere, and your selection is great. But anyways, getting off on a tangent here. So yeah, it didn't really help me out. Doesn't help foreigners out to be right in the middle of everyone that's trying to work, and you're not trying to, you're not there to work. At least not. You can work online. So I guess the thing is, you can bring money. You can make money from outside the Philippines and bring it in. You just can't make money inside the Philippines. Another positive that I noticed, and this was pretty easy to spot, is there are beautiful women everywhere. Cebu City has a population, I looked it up, of roughly 1 million, and they're so condensed into a small area. You're gonna get these, it's obvious, when you go out, and I'll give you an example, like they're so condensed. Like if you go out to the malls, I don't know why, but women, they really turn it on when they go to the mall. I should have asked when I should ask some people when I was there, but you don't see a sloppy woman at the mall. Like, it is not, it's just not, I didn't, so they know they're on, it's like, they know they're on when they go to the mall. So, and let me give you an example actually. Like, I would go to, when I was living in, because I was living in IT Park for pretty much those 3 months. There's an Ayala Mall, I think it's called Central Block. It's a small Ayala Mall. But anyways, I would go there to get my coffee, and I would just have my coffee and sit, you know, for 15, 20 minutes. I would see line after line, just stunners, like nothing I'd seen anywhere else, actually in the world, because I've been to 10 different countries. And I'll give you an example. Like, I was sitting there once, there was a group of 4 girls, and you know, they're just going about their business. I wasn't talking to them. I just would notice them from from a way. So, oh, okay, whatever. 3 of those girls were stunners. I mean, just drop dead, like incredible. I didn't say nothing, but because I was just looking, I was just people watching like I normally do. Every country I go to, I just watch people. So I want you to do this experiment, or run this experiment where you're at, wherever you're at, because mostly Westerners, Filipinos don't watch this, but go to your mall and go look at, see how many, what the probability is, like how many women at your mall or whatever, a big store, whatever, a Walmart or something, or Walmart's probably the wrong one, but anyway, you know what I mean, and see how many of them are just beautiful, and they take care of themselves, they're in shape, they're thin, they're very pretty, and they're feminine, which we're not used to seeing. All that, like all that combined, we're not used to seeing anymore. So when you get here, you're like shocked. Now for me, it's so all over the place. I don't really care, and honestly, the number one reason I came to the Philippines was for a lower cost of living. So that's nice that that's over there, but I'm more into a lower cost of living lifestyle. So that was the most important for me, and I've been looking for that. And Cebu was lower, obviously, than living in the States, but I didn't realize how expensive it was until I left Cebu. So Cebu is actually expensive, and I'm going to get into that here next. So on the con side, rent, and once I left Cebu City for, where did I go? I went to Bohol, the Panglao area. So rent is about 20% higher than, just in a comparison to the next island, or a close island, which is Bohol. About 20% higher. Food, and this was a big one, was 20 to 30% higher in Cebu than the neighboring island. And fuel is also about 15% higher. So all around, the cost of living in Cebu is pretty expensive from what I've noticed, because as soon as I left, my cost of living went like drastically down. And I measured it basically every month, so I can tell right away when it's like, oh wow, this is a lot less. And for me, that's a big deal, because that was the number one reason I came to the Philippines, was a lower cost of living. If I can manage a low cost of living, I'm basically, I say semi-retired. So for me, that's the most important thing, is I want to have a great quality of life. And this is like the beach, this is like what I want. I love being close to the beach, close to the water, like by the palm trees. Like, this is so relaxing to me. I could just hang out here for an hour or two. I just feel like 1,000 times better. So for me, it was super important. Another con to Cebu City is, it is essentially a traffic hellscape there. I can make an hour-long video of just how bad the traffic is there, and it would barely scratch the surface. So I'm just going to give you just a couple quick highlights. And a lot of you are going to say, well, I'm not going to drive there, so it's not going to affect me. You know, I don't want to have a car, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of you don't have cars, I get it, but it still affects you, and let me explain why. I went to Lapu-Lapu, and it's only like, it's like 7 or 8 kilometers from IT Park. It's like a 45-50 minute taxi ride. And keep in mind, yeah, I wasn't driving myself because the taxi driver was driving the car, but you pay by the minute. So anytime there's traffic, you're still being charged, you know, and it's a short distance. So unless you're never going to leave your place of residence, you're going to be affected by the traffic. So just be aware. And you could be on a motorbike taxi, you could be whatever, walking on, taking even a jeepney. The traffic there is incredible. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I guess probably Manila's worse, but I don't have any. I thought I was gonna go spend some time in Manila, but I'm not going to, because if it's anything like Cebu, I'm just not interested. I love being in the islands and by the beach every day. So keep that in mind. Traffic, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like when I lived in Honolulu, I knew what time the traffic started, what time it ended, and I knew basically what areas to avoid. That's not like Cebu City is not like that at all. So maybe to me, it would just add so much stress an anxiety to my life. I was like, I don't want to keep dealing with this. So there was no reason for me to stay there. And I can never see living in Cebu. The most I could ever probably do is maybe like an overnight trip just to do some shopping or something, and then go back on a ferry to the next island. One other thing I've noticed is here, let me put this the right way. In the Philippines, common courtesy is not really extended. It's not part of their culture. Like, they're not taught that. And I'll give you some examples. I was at the I guess their version of DMV. I was getting my my license switched over, or getting a Philippines license, because I drive here and I have a vehicle. So anyways, I'm standing in line. There's one person at the counter. There's a person in front of me. I'm the second person. There's a person back of me. So there's 3 people waiting. A lady just walked in, just straight off the street, like walked through the front door and walked straight to the front of the counter. And she saw the line there. Like, she saw us, 3 of us standing there. And they just helped her. Like, they didn't say, "Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry, there's a line right." Like, they could have been polite and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's a line. Can you please stand?" They didn't care. The lady at the front just didn't care. She wasn't gonna. I guess they consider that like maybe being confrontational, and they don't want to do that to another Filipino, or really anyone. So, and this is multiple. This happened at the grocery store. Like, they don't have a concept of like considering other people, and that's just I guess it's cultural. Like, we're taught. Like, I remember being taught as a really young kid. Like, I was like 5 years old when I tried to cut in line because I didn't know. My parents were like, no. See these people? They were here before you, so that means you go to the back of the line. And I was like, oh, so that's how we do it. Like, I remember these things, so then I was taught to go to the back of the line. Like, they don't care here. But one thing I have noticed, I'll put it this way, is like a lot of that was in Cebu City. When you come out to the islands, especially when I was on Bohol, I seen very little of that. But even, especially like in traffic, like other drivers, they don't care about people around them. Like, they won't consider people around them. Their only focus is what they're doing. So they'll cut you off and slam on the brakes. And a lot of motorbikes do this. And then, so now it made you back up. So now you're later. And then they just keep cutting. So everyone that cuts you off puts you farther back from where you're trying to be. But they don't care, because as long as they're making progress, like, that's the most important thing to them, is they made progress. They don't care what they had to do to get the progress. So really in the West, we're not, I mean, yeah, of course you get people can cut you off, but it's nothing like, it happens hundreds of times per day here. So that's just normal here. Again, there's no point in complaining about it. There's no point in talking to anyone about it. Don't be confrontational, because you're not going to change how they've been taught as a culture for forever. Like, don't waste your breath. That's what I would say. So you have to have the patience of a saint here. If you cannot, I don't think this is a good spot for you, because I've had to learn. I was patient before, and I had to learn a lot of patience. I've been here like 3 or 4 months now. So again, the negatives for me, because it was so stressful, and it was expensive, stressful. It's hot. You could tell there's like so many cars. You know, you can kind of smell it in the air. It's not a clean, like, for breathing and stuff, it's not a clean place. So for me, the negatives far outweigh the positives for Cebu City. I wish I would have known about it before I spent so much time there, but things gradually got worse and worse and worse. And I thought that was the Philippines. I was getting discouraged because I thought Cebu City was representative of the Philippines. It's not. As soon as you leave there, there's so much beauty and just such a low stress lifestyle, and cost of living like drastically goes down as soon as you leave that city. So I wish I would have known that before and acted sooner, but hopefully this helps some people in the future to just keep it in mind. Some of the things I mentioned you're going to care about, some of them you're not, but take the whole picture in mind, and then hopefully this helps you in your travels here. I'll keep posting up vlogs. I'm at different beaches all the time. I'm at so many different beaches that I don't really feel like showing every single beach, because I may go to a beach for 30 minutes, I may go to another beach for 15 minutes, but if I see a good beach that stands out, I'll make another vlog and show you guys, so you guys can visit that beach at that island when you visit here. Okay, so other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll try to help you out in the comments below. All right, have a good one.